I'm Ben Kull. I grew up in New Jersey. Came out to California about 17, 18 years ago to become a writer, to write movies and TV shows. Growing up, my dad was a journalist. My mom was an English teacher, so they always encouraged me to write. In my family, writing was how we expressed ourselves. From a very early age, I would write short stories, and as soon as the technology was there, I had a video camera in my hand and would write little movies and go out and shoot them with my friends in the woods, doing war movies and monster movies and horror movies. It's like the way I think now is in the form of movies. Right after I came out to LA, I was working at MTV. I got a job there as just an assistant answering phones on a show that had just been picked up. It was called Austin Stories, and it was the first scripted comedy they ever did. I showed up on the first day of work, and they hadn't hired all the writers yet. I watched the pilot of the show, went home, and that weekend I just wrote a script for the show. And then on Monday morning I brought it in and I told my boss, here's the script that I wrote. It's an entire episode of your show. Can I be a writer on your show? But he took the script and read it and he liked it, and I got to be a writer on the show. I still had to answer phones because it was MTV, but I also wrote 2 episodes. You know, I've been around a long time. I worked on TV for 10 years. I left TV because I realized my dream was to make movies. The actual first movie I ever wrote was something that I pitched to a company called Klasky Csupo. They were doing all the old Rugrats movies, and I pitched them an idea for an animated movie about a Spanish bull who makes friends with a little boy. They grow up together and then get separated by life and then meet up back together in the bull ring and end up saving each other. It's like a really sweet kind of Disney movie. Ended up pitching it to Klasky Csupo, and they were like, oh, we're looking for a bull movie. And I was like, perfect, I'll write it. So they hired me to write it. We set it up with Paramount, and it was ready to get made. They were doing designs, and Paramount got bought by DreamWorks, or merged with DreamWorks, and suddenly DreamWorks was in charge of all their animation. And that's what happens sometimes. They took over, and then it got put on the shelf, but it was amazing. I got to, learn how to write while on the job, and it was a lot of fun. Haven't like every male from our generation, I think we've all been into science fiction since we were little kids. I actually recorded Star Wars off of the TV on a little tape player. I'd walk around school with headphones on listening to the dialogue from Star Wars. And I had like a little Yoda doll in my locker. But yes, I love science fiction. I just love being able to imagine anything. About a year and a half ago, I got handed one of your scripts. It's a script for Strange Times. And I was like, oh, great. It's like a rock star who wants to be a screenwriter now. I read even just the first act, and I went, this is what I want to do. It was imaginative, it was science fiction, but it had a heart. It had characters who you fell in love with. I knew when I read it, I could use that. That will complete a part of my writing that maybe isn't there as strong. Immediately I was like, we'll probably make a good team. Yeah, and I remember you said that you weren't just creating a band, that you were creating an art project where stories would be told with the music, but also with movies and with other mediums. And that's really ambitious, and I'm an ambitious person. I want to do new things.